Discover the 10 frugal spending habits that will truly transform your finances in 2026, and learn why earning more money isn't the solution, it's about reclaiming control over what you already have. You see, most people mistakenly believe frugality means sacrifice. In reality, it means control. In this episode, I'm going to break down the spending habits that appear harmless on the surface but are quietly wrecking your cash flow. Then, I'll show you what to do instead with your money, so it starts working for you, not against you. I'm your host, Mel Abraham, and after more than 30 years as a CPA, an entrepreneur, and someone who has personally navigated the path to financial freedom, I've come to realize that it's not about bigger numbers, it's about making bigger, smarter choices. This is Lucid Capital, where we empower you to master your money, eliminate financial stress, and live a life of true choice. Because earning more doesn't guarantee freedom, but building a robust money machine certainly does. If you're ready, let's dive in. These are the 10 frugal spending habits that will save you serious money in 2026. Now, listen closely. Before we go any further, let me be clear about what this isn't. This isn't about being cheap. This isn't about deprivation. And it's definitely not about sucking the joy out of your life. Instead, it's about high-value spending. If you stay with me, you'll walk away with actionable habits that immediately improve your cash flow and give you more margin in your life. This way, your money supports the life you want instead of sabotaging it. It's crucial that we're aligned from the start because I, too, fall into some of these traps, not because I don't know better, but because I'm human. The goal here isn't perfection, it's about catching yourself faster. Most people don't have an income problem, they have what I call a margin problem. Money comes in, and then it quietly disappears, not in a dramatic, I bought a yacht way, but in small, forgettable ways that don't actually improve your life. That's what we're fixing. So, let's jump into habit number 1, kill the invisible money leaks. The most dangerous spending is the spending you don't even feel. Subscriptions are masters at this. They draw you in with small monthly amounts, and over time, these become substantial sums. It doesn't hurt immediately, it doesn't trigger alarms. They just quietly drain your margin while you're busy living. This is perfectly fine if you're getting value from these subscriptions, but many times, we stop getting value and do nothing about it. Think gym memberships, software subscriptions, and similar services. I've sat with people earning 6 figures who claim to be quite frugal, yet a simple subscription audit reveals hundreds of dollars, sometimes $400 or $500 a month, literally leaking out. They genuinely had no idea. And yes, I've been guilty of this too. Have you ever realized, wow, I've been paying for multiple tools that essentially do the same thing, not because I needed them, but because canceling felt like effort, and ignoring it felt easier. Here's the habit to adopt: once a quarter, audit all your subscriptions. No guilt, no shame, just a dose of reality. Open your bank app, search for monthly transactions, and see what's happening. Review all the bills you're paying regularly and ask yourself, am I using this? Am I getting value from it? Are there overlaps where I don't need these things? Cancel what you don't use, consolidate overlapping services, and downgrade anything that doesn't need to be premium. This single habit alone can create significant margin, and that margin is what gives you options later. Remember, this isn't about grand, sweeping changes, it's about small, consistent adjustments that build discipline and direct your money to create the value you truly desire in your life. This leads me to habit number 2, annualize before you say yes. This is a huge one because we've been indoctrinated into a society driven by payments. Marketers are experts at presenting things to us in terms of monthly payments. Even at a car dealership, they'll ask, what do you want your monthly payment to be? Monthly pricing is one of the greatest illusions ever created. $39 a month feels harmless, but when you multiply that by 12, you realize it's $468 a year. Suddenly, it feels much more significant. I've watched people confidently agree to small monthly payments, and before they know it, they're being cut not by 1,000 paper cuts, but by 1,000 payment plans. You then lean back in your chair, thinking, if I had multiplied that by 12, perhaps I wouldn't have committed to this. That's when the reality of the situation hits you. So, here's the habit I want you to adopt: never agree to a recurring expense without first seeing the annual number. Look at the monthly payment they're quoting you, multiply it by 12, say it out loud, write it down, and let your nervous system react. If it's still worth it, great. Make that conscious, intentional choice. If not, you've just saved yourself hundreds of dollars without sacrificing anything meaningful. If it's not worth the annual number, then it's not worth the monthly lie. That's the game they play. They know they can hook you because it doesn't seem like a big number. No more. Multiply by 12. Habit number 3, put friction back into easy spending. Here's what I mean. Be honest with yourself. How many things have you bought recently not because you needed them, not because you planned for them, but simply because it was easy? You didn't shop around, you didn't compare, you just tapped, swiped, and bought. Think Amazon, DoorDash, Uber Eats. I've had those moments. There's a reason I have a $900 coffee maker. Tap, swipe, buy, and it's delivered. It was easy. Did I need it? Did I compare it? No. Like I said, I'm human. And when something shows up at your door, and you think, wait, did I order this? That's not a decision, that's muscle memory, buying memory in action. The challenge is to replace this habit. It's not about willpower, it's about changing the environment to remove the ease. Marketers know that if they can remove friction from the buying decision, you'll buy more. That's why they make purchasing so easy: tap, swipe, and storing credit card information. So, here's the hack: remove all saved credit cards from every app you use for purchases, like Amazon. Unless you're a number nerd like me who memorizes credit card numbers, every time you need to buy something, you'll have to get up, retrieve your card, and manually enter the details. Don't save it again. What I'm trying to do is create a moment of hesitation, a pause, where you can truly think about it and decide, is this truly what I want to do? Am I purchasing this due to utility, need, planning, or something other than mere convenience? Another thing to do is turn off one-click buying. Force yourself to re-enter information. If you re-enter the information and pause to think about it, you'll likely make a better decision. If your spending feels automatic, like rote habit, it's already out of control. So, let's put friction back into buying decisions. Let's create some space and time between the thought and the swipe. When you do that, you'll find that sometimes you'll still buy, sometimes you won't, but most of the time when you do make a purchase, it will be the right thing for the right reasons because you've thought it through. Habit number 4, decide your convenience in advance. I'm not anti-convenience, but I am anti-unexamined convenience. Here's what I mean. When you're tired, stressed, hungry, or overwhelmed, you typically don't make great money decisions. It's when our emotions get involved that the challenge arises, when we start to feel this concept of, we deserve this, and suddenly, that kind of spending sneaks in. So, instead of deciding in the moment, decide in advance. Ask yourself, how many nights a week will you eat out? My wife and I, for example, have pizza and movie nights on Fridays. It's planned, it's already decided. Ask yourself how many delivery meals you'll be buying, especially with the fees I see on DoorDash and Postmates. We often don't realize how much convenience truly costs us. Then, ask yourself, what convenience is actually worth paying for? I'm not saying not to do any of this, I'm simply saying I want you to be conscious, intentional, and aware. This isn't restriction, this is permission. When convenience is planned, then enjoy it fully, no guilt, no second guessing. Planned convenience feels much more like freedom, reactive convenience feels a lot more like regret. Habit number 5, delay identity spending by one payment cycle. Here's what I mean. Some spending isn't about need, honestly, it's about identity. I deserve this. I earned this. This makes me feel like I'm a success. And listen, I totally get it, I've fallen into this too. So, here's the rule, any identity-driven purchase gets delayed by one pay cycle. Not forever, not deprivation, just a little bit of time. Put it on a list called, Still Want This. Here's the thing, most impulse purchases simply don't survive the test of time. When you look at it again after one pay cycle and ask, do I really still want this, you might make a non-impulsive purchase because it's been thought through. But many times, you'll realize you don't actually need it, saving yourself money. If it still excites you after the initial emotion wears off, then it's probably a good purchase. Habit number 6, buy fewer things, but better things. Too often, we equate frugality with being cheap. No, frugality is not about buying cheap. Cheap is often much more expensive than frugality. When you buy cheap things, they typically break, wear out faster, and you end up having to replace them more often, more frequently. So, suddenly, you're buying 3 of them instead of just 1. I've watched people buy the same low-quality item 3 times and feel proud that they saved money, while a higher quality version would have lasted a decade. Think about shoes, tools, furniture, technology, all those things. What I want you to do is compare price, quality, and longevity. Now, I don't want you to use this as an excuse to go luxury and hog wild. I do want you to be smart about it, because if something breaks and you have to replace it, what happens? So, stop buying the cheap version. In some cases, it is actually more frugal to buy the more expensive, better quality version. Cheap feels good at checkout, quality feels good for years. Now, I'm going to pause for a second because this is where a lot of people start connecting the dots. What you're really doing with these habits is creating margin, creating space. Why are we even having this conversation? Because I want space between what you earn and what your life costs. If you've never actually calculated what your life truly costs, there's a blind spot for almost everyone. Until you understand what your life costs, you can't look at it and say, wow, are there things I need to adjust, change, or work through? To help you with this, I'm giving you a free tool called the Lifestyle Cost Calculator. It will make it easier for you and help you see your real numbers. All you need to do is go to melabraham.com/lifestyle. As I said, it's totally free, but it will allow you to get a feel for what your life costs, and then you can start to apply that to some of these habits. Alright, let's get on with this. Habit number 7, capture margin before your lifestyle expands. This is all about lifestyle creep. As I said, margin is simply the money left over after your life is paid for, income minus expenses. That's the gap. Margin is what lets you invest. Margin is what gives you options. Margin is the thing that lowers your financial stress. Many people get so focused on earn more, get more salary, get more income, but if it's just money in and money out with no margin in between, they're living paycheck to paycheck. If you doubt this, look at some actors and athletes who make hundreds of millions of dollars and end up broke. At the end of the day, they had no margin in their lives, they were spending to the edges of their income every single day. So, what often happens is that people get a raise, a bonus, or some windfall, and their lifestyle quietly expands and sucks it all up. The nicer car, the better phone, more subscriptions, lavish vacations, a bigger home. Now, I'm not saying not to get those things. I'm simply saying we need to be smart about it and not allow an increase in income to prematurely increase our lifestyle. The habit is simple, with any increase in income, capture the margin first, before your lifestyle adjusts. Automatically divert a portion of that increase directly into savings or investing. Your ability to build wealth is far more driven by the percentage of income you put away to work for you, your investing or savings percentage, than by the income itself. I tell people, especially if they're getting bonuses, to use the 50-50 rule. 50% of it goes towards your financial future, and 50% can go to your upgrades and other things in your life. But at least you're putting that financial future first. So, if your income goes up but your margin doesn't, nothing has truly changed. Habit number 8, track margin, not every dollar. You know, most people, when we talk about budgeting, they groan, and they fail. The truth is, traditional budgeting fails most people because it's tedious, it feels restrictive, like a diet. It makes people feel like they're constantly doing something wrong. Oh my God, I'm $3 off of that. So, instead of tracking every single number, what if you just tracked one number, your monthly margin? If your margin was meant to be $1,000 a month, and this month it's $1,100, you're doing okay. If it's meant to be $1,000 a month but it's $900, then maybe not so much. But you're tracking one number, and what's happening on the way to margin, I'm not as concerned about. I'm not as concerned about all the little pieces. How much money is left over after your life is paid for is what I'm concerned about, because that's the thing we're going to use to build your future. It works because it focuses on freedom, not punishment. It shows progress without shame. It doesn't nitpick every little expense, and it tells you if your system is actually working. Wealth isn't built by tracking pennies, it's built by protecting the margin. Habit number 9, use some simple spending rules. Willpower is unreliable, rules, however, work. Rules remove emotion from decisions. Why did I get caught in a Ponzi scheme? I got caught because I ignored my rules. My emotions got involved, my willpower wasn't there, and I ignored my rules. I put rules back in place, and I am dogmatic about them. When I work with my students and clients about investing rules, it's to keep them safe, protected, and to raise the probability of success. Good rules are clear: no impulse purchases over a set amount. That's a rule. No subscriptions without a specific cancel date. No subscriptions without doing a 12-month calculation. No upgrades unless something breaks. When you create rules, make them specific, because bad rules don't help. Vague rules are opaque, you don't know what they mean. For example, I should probably spend less is not a rule, it's a suggestion. Or, I'll try to be better next month, again, not a rule, just an admonition. No, do something specific. What are your spending rules? What are your investing rules? If you don't know, I've got them in my book, I teach them. Here's the thing, I'm trying to get you to avoid deciding in the moment, because if you're deciding in the moment, often it's your emotions that decide for you instead of you deciding for you. Putting rules in place in advance, just like planning conveniences in advance, keeps you safe. That leads me to the final habit, habit number 10, plan fun on purpose. We have to end with this because it matters. This isn't about cutting out fun, it's about actually upgrading it. It's about making sure that the things that truly matter to you are funded through your plan. Reactive fun, spontaneous fun, I get it, it can be great. But often, it's expensive and ultimately forgettable. Planned fun is meaningful. It's memorable. It's valuable. It's something that is visceral to you. My wife and I love to travel together, so we plan it, we plan for it, we fund it. Do we do last-minute trips? Yes. Do we do impulsive weekends? Sometimes. But often, we don't because we already have things planned that are actually more meaningful. So ask yourself, this is a values question, what matters to you? What matters to your spouse, your significant other, the people you're sharing life with? Look at it, because let's face it, retail therapy disguised as self-care doesn't work. When you plan fun intentionally, putting joy points into it, you spend less and you enjoy it more. Because the best memories usually come from planned joy, not impulsive spending. Now, I hope that going through this, you realize that this hasn't been about having less. It's about making sure your money supports the life you want. It's about making sure your money is doing the things it was meant to do. It's about creating margin that gives you breathing room. It's about creating margin that gives you options. It's about creating margin that gives you control. If you truly want that clearer financial picture, you've got to put some of these things into play. If you're unsure about what your lifestyle costs, go get that lifestyle cost calculator. It's a simple way to turn awareness into intentional action. When you become aware and intentional, you stay on that path. And listen, let's call a spade a spade. If you fall off along the way, welcome to being human. I do it plenty of times. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be aware and willing to check yourself. That's the game we're playing. That's how money stops running your life and starts working for you. That's it, that's what I have for you. I hope you found some of these habits valuable. I'd love to hear from you. Which one of these habits resonated most? Which one will you start implementing first? Send me a comment or a direct message. I love having these conversations with you. In the meantime, if you have questions or come up with something, please reach out. Until I get a chance to see you in another episode, or on the road and path to your financial freedom, as I always say, always strive to live a life that outlives you. See you in the next one. Cheers for now.